times, and we're also hearing reaction from leaders in the Palmetto State to Haley's candidacy,
including Governor Henry McMaster. Fox Carolina's Zach Prelutsky talked with the governor this afternoon in Greenville.
Tori Arthur, there is quite a history between Governor Henry McMaster and Nikki Haley, and McMaster told me that while he thinks Haley will make a great candidate, his support remains with another person currently in the race. Now, when Haley was governor of South Carolina, McMaster served both on the South Carolina Port Authority Board and as lieutenant governor before becoming governor himself when Haley moved to U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. I asked the governor if he will support his predecessor in her quest for the White House.
I have been with President Trump since 2015, and that's where I'm going to stay. But as I say, Nikki Haley will be a tremendous candidate on the Republican side. There are others that I think are going to announce as well, and every one of them is a superlative.
So McMaster declaring his support for former President Donald Trump. He's also serving on Trump's South Carolina campaign team. This is video from Trump's visit to the Palmetto State just last month. You can see Lindsey Graham in this shot as well. He's also on the Trump South Carolina campaign team, and he tweeted about Haley's announcement, saying, quote, "Nikki Haley has led an incredible life with many successes and accomplishments. She has performed at the highest level in every elected and appointed position she has held." Senator Graham goes on to say that I'm confident she will acquit herself well as a candidate for president. Now, the South Carolina Democratic Party chair Trav Robertson Jr. sent out this statement saying, in part, quote, "With Nikki Haley's announcement officially kicking off Republicans' messy 2024 primary race, the rest of America will see just how awful Nikki Haley's record is for the middle class, including her signing into law an extreme abortion ban with no exceptions for rape or incest, pushing for tax cuts that benefit the ultra-wealthy and corporations, and refusing to expand Medicaid to provide affordable health care access for hundreds of thousands of South Carolinians." Now, Governor McMaster was asked what his response would be if Haley asked him to be his running mate in 2024. He said he will continue to serve as governor here in South Carolina. And for those counting, and I'm sure probably not a lot of us are, but there are 629 days remaining until that 2024 general election. Tori and Arthur.